without Christendom or have been baptized are there.
All right, so we're talking about the second section of hell, which is the first circle of hell. This is ninth lit. The first section of hell was the vestibule. People didn't make a decision, and so they have to be chased, and they have to run and run forever chasing a decision, which is the flag. And that's appropriate because they wouldn't do that on earth. Limbo, it's that first section. And would you repeat that, Leroy?
Those without Christendom or haven't been baptized recite there.
So the author, Dante, says they haven't sinned. What we mean comparatively, they haven't sinned. They didn't sin like the other people. They're the great people of antiquity. So how are they being punished? Anybody? Leroy knows.
They have to.
Are they being chased?
No?
Are they like suspended?
No, that's.
This is kind of a trick question.
Oh, they're like in the wind.
They're not really being punished.
They're not being punished at all. It's a trick question. Just like what's the first section of hell? It's kind of a trick question, although not really, because it's not the first circle of hell. It's the vestibule. So they are not being punished at all.
But they're really upset.
They're upset because of what they're losing out on. You know, it's like being grounded. I mean, you can't go. You watch your friends go. You imagine what they're doing. You still got this nice TV. You got this still, the computer. You got the comforts of home. You just can't leave it, and you're missing out on what you'd prefer to do. And so then that's how they do. They're being grounded, and they can't leave. What's limbo like? What's the geography of
Isn't
limbo?
it dark?
It's not dark.
Is it empty?
It's not empty.
It's a
Limbo is a little
meadow,
bit-
and
It's a meadow. It has light. It's the only place in hell that has any kind of light. It has a green meadow.
The walls, gate walls.
It has a nice castle with walls, a river. Yeah. Anything else? I mean, that's a fairly pleasant. What does this really represent? Like in history, it's on the board. This is the place where the heroes would go. The Elysian Fields or Elysium. This is actually a very nice place, except what they're missing out is so enormous. I don't think we ever think about it. We think of only hell as being punishment, and that's the worst part of hell. But it's a double punishment. You're missing out on the blessings of God, and those are so incredibly abundant and great that even if you lived here on earth, just the way you're living right now, and knew what people were having in heaven, you would feel like you were in hell. I really believe that. If this was hell, if this was the worst hell God, it's like earth. But there's a heaven where, if you understand what people are getting, we would feel like this was hell. I've heard people say the earth is the only hell Christians will ever know, and it's also the only heaven the non-Christians will ever know. The fact is, nobody stays on earth. That's a scenario that would never happen. You're still either going one or the other places. Although there will be a new heaven and a new earth. So I think we will have access to earth. I don't know how that works. You read it.
Like a ghost.
You explain it to me. What?
You feel like a ghost and you can like fly around.
Well, everybody at that time will have bodies that can do something like that.
That's like crazy. You can't even think about that.
No, our bodies are not like that, so we really can't imagine bodies that are. It's probably even greater than any science fiction. Like just
Like the ultimate science.
yeah, if just flying. If I always thought that would be a cool superpower. If you could just fly, that would be my super. I'd love to have that. But it's probably better than that. Anything you see in heaven, in the Bible, is using human words. And I think what it's going to be really like is so much better than that. We just simply don't have other words to describe it. So anyway, that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So what kind of people are here? What literally, who are some of the people that are here? And, right. And remember some of their names?
Homer.
Homer, Aristotle, he's
Virgil.
a philosopher. Virgil is here, he's a poet.
They want Dante to be in.
That's right, they want him to be a part of it. Plato, Socrates, Saladin, that guy, you know, the Muslim leader. Caesar, yeah.
And Brutus.
All right, so you get the idea, those are the kinds of people that are here. Now he moves on to the second circle, which we started yesterday, on page 97. And the second circle is the same question. I think we are in there now. So, hate to do this without him, but we'll kind of follow up on it. Do you know what, did we talk about what the second circle is?
It's the lowest one.
It is the lustful, and I'll do, yeah, Charlotte.
Oh, and I was gonna say that they were getting willed to run and stuff.
That's right, and did we talk about why that's an appropriate punishment? Why?
Their desires carry them away. It's like they're super lustful throughout life, so then when they're in college, they're like getting thrown around in a circle and stuff.
Right, and whether it's lust or some other great desire, you know how it can sweep you off your feet, that's an expression we use. So if it's love, you think you're in love with somebody, that person swept you off your feet, it's almost like you had no control over it. Just like they have no control over being blown around by this wind. So that's why it's appropriate. So we need to know some of the people that are here. I will read some of this. So let's pay attention to this. We're on page 98, line 43. It's still describing the punishment in line 43. Hither and thither and up and down, outworn, hopeless of any rest. Rest, did I say, of the least minishing of their pangs forlorn. So if it sounded like it did to one student, I told you, he or she said, that sounds like a lot of fun, just being blown around like that. I think if you thought about it a little bit longer, you'd realize that you have no control.
If you're getting beat against the wall and stuff, and like you're flying around and stuff's like hitting you, and you'd be really banged up.
Standing out in a hurricane would be a similar feeling. You know, you get the wind and you get all the stuff that's in the wind. You know, they say that about tornadoes, particularly a rock that's not very big going 200 miles an hour could kill you.
You drop a penny off the Empire State Building.
Something like that. It's the velocity rather than the mass or weight of something. All right, so hither and thither, up and down, outworn, hopeless of any rest. Rest, and I say, of the least minishing of their pangs forlorn. And as the cranes go chanting their harsh way across the sky in the long procession trailing, so I beheld some shadows borne my way. Driven on the blast and uttering wail on wailing, wherefore I said, O Master, art thou able to name the spirits thrashed by the black winds flailing? Among this band, said he, whose name and fable thou seekest to know, the first who yonder flies was empress of many tongues, the mistress of Babel. You can look any of these names up. I'm not going to bother. I can look her up. I can't remember much about her, but you can look them all up. They're in the glossary at the end of the book. She was so broken to lascivious vice, she licensed lust by law in hopes to cover her scandal of unnumbered harlotries. There's a particular, I don't know if this is her or not, but in the first 4 chapters of Revelation, there are 7 letters written to 7 churches. And in one of the churches, there was a girl, a woman that they called Jezebel. That was her nickname. And one of the things she did is she not only sinned sexually, but she taught others to do the same. So she's doubly sinning. She's not only doing that herself, but she's encouraging others to do it. That's what this woman is doing also. This was Semiramis. It is written of her that she was wife to Ninus and heiress too, who reigned in the land the Soldan now rules over. Sean, would you mind reading at that point?
Lo, she that slew herself for love, untrue to Psyche's ashes, love tossed on the blast, voluptuous Cleopatra, whom love slew. Look, look on Helen, for whose sake rolled past long evil years. See great Achilles yonder, who warred with love, and that war was his last. See Paris, Tristram, see, and many, wonder many. 1,000 more he shared by name, and pointing hand, whose life love sent asunder. And when I had heard my doctor tell the fame of all those knights and ladies of long ago, I was pierced through with pity, and my head swam. Poet, said I, fain would I speak those two that seem to ride as light as any foam, and hand in band on the dark wind drifting go. And he replied, wait till they near Rome, and thou shalt see, summon them to thy side, by the power of the love that leads them, and they will come.
Thank you, good job. He wants to speak to two of them, and that's typical of the book. Either he or Virgil end up talking to somebody that's there, somebody they know. But there's some names here you should recognize. Who are some of the names?
Cleopatra.
Yeah, you know her. Who was she in love with?
Pharaoh. Was it?
No.
Wait, no.
Well, she may have been,
I
but
forgot. Oh, wait.
they're not the famous one, you know, Charlotte?
I don't know.
Was it the young boy?
No.
That was Dido, or was it? I think.
Yeah, Dido's at the bottom of this.
Yeah, she's mentioned.
What's the name?
She's here too.
Helen's in here.
You'll-
There's two.
Yeah, well, Helen is one of them. So we're gonna add Helen, Achilles, Paris, all those, of course, had to do with Troy and that battle. Did you get that? Then go circle those. Helen, Achilles, Paris, these are all names of people who were there. Cleopatra first fell in love with Julius Caesar,
Oh, yeah.
and then she fell in love
I
with
thought I said that.
Mark Antony. I missed you.
I said Caesar.
All right, so those are some people that are in hell, but now he's gonna meet two more, and their names are at the top of the page. When I say top, I mean the margin at the very top. Paolo and Francesca. These are not famous people. Their story may be, but they are not famous historical people. So he's gonna actually talk to Francesca. And, you wanna read?
So as they eddied past on their whirling tide, I raised my voice. O souls that wearily rode, come to us, speak to us, if it not be denied. And as desire waxed homeward, dove with dove, to their sweet nest, on raised and steady wing, down dropping through the air, held by love. So these from Dido's flock came fluttering, and dropping toward us down the cruel wind, such power was in my affectionate summon. O living creature, gracious and so kind, coming through this black air to visit us. Us who is in death the globe in
Carnadine.
Carnadine. Were the world's were the world's king our friend, and might we thus entreat, we would entreat him to thy peace, that piteous so our pangs despite us. Hear all thou wilt, and speak as thou shalt please. We will gladly speak with thee in here, while the wind sees to howl as they now cease.
All right, so they're gonna talk to these people. I should point out two things. This is the first time, and it may be the last time, that Dante is sympathetic with the people that he sees. He sees these people, now this is the first circle, the second circle, but he didn't feel sorry for the people in the vestibule. He didn't feel sorry for the people in limbo, but he feels sorry for these. And so make a note of that. He feels sorry for them. That may tell us something about Dante, that might have been a sin of his. He might have been guilty of that, and so we kind of naturally sympathize with people who are like us. You know, I've done that, or I'm like that. You can kind of relate to them. So that may be, it's certainly not proof, but it's an interesting thought. So why don't we go to Aiden? This is Francesca. Her name is, you got that already.
What line?
Top of page 100, line 97.
Okay.
There's a town. Yeah.
There is a town upon the sea coast near where Poe with all his streams come down to rest in ocean. I was born and nurtured there, love that so soon takes hold in my gentle breast. Like this lad with lovely body they tore from me, the weight of it leaves me still distressed. Love that to no love part amidst love's score, took me with such great joy in that sea. It holds me yet and never shall leave me more. Love to a single death brought him and me. Cain's place lies waiting for a murderer now. These words came wafted to us plaintively.
All right, pause just a minute. Circle, literally circle the number 100, line 100, 103, 106. Would you put a bracket around those three? The question is question number, where is it? 22. This is an example of parallelism. Do you see it? Look at it. Yeah, you see it. Love that, love that, love that. Took this lad, took this, took me, and so forth. So you have three examples of parallelism, but you can keep reading.
Hearing those wounded souls, I bent my brow downward, and thus amused I let time pass, till the poet said, at length, what thinkest thou? When I could answer, I began, alas, sweet dreams, how many, and desire, how great, brought down these twain unto glorious past. And then I turned to them, thy dreadful fate, Francesca, makes me weak, it so inspires pity, said I, and grief compassionate. Tell me in that time of sighting sweet desires, how and by what did love his power disclose, and grant you knowledge of your hidden fires. Then she to me the bitterest woe of woes, is to remember in our wretchedness. Old happy times, and this thy doctor knows, yet if so dear desire thy heart possess, to know that root of love which wrought our fall, I will be as those who weep and who confess. One day we read for pastime how enthrall Lord Lancelot lay to love, and who loved a queen, who we were alone, we thought no harm at all. As we read on, our eyes met now, and then, and to our cheeks the changing color started. But just one moment overcame us, when we read of the smile, desire of lips long parted. Such smile by never a lover kissed away. He that may never more from me be parted. Trembling all over, kiss my mouth, I say the book of Galliot the complying, ribald who wrote, and read no more that day. While the one spirit thus spoke, the others crying wailed on me with a sound so lamentable. I swooned for pity like as I were dying, and as a dead man falling down I fell.
All right, so we're done reading for the day. Look at 23. Francesca, let me explain this story. All right, Dan, get up to questions. You should have your questions. All right, so this is question number 23. This is do you know Francesca's story? Did you get it? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
What did it tell me about it?
She died.
Yeah, who killed her?
Her husband.
Yes, that's his name right there. Write his name down. Francesca and Paolo. Paolo was her husband's brother. So she and the brother were reading one day a book about Lancelot, the knight, and their eyes met, and they kissed each other, and that was the start of it. At some point, her husband found them together and killed them. They are in the second circle of hell because of their lust. But he is in the 8th circle of hell. No, I'm sorry, the 9th, not 8th, but 9th. He is in the 9th circle of hell.
It's like the worst one.
It's the worst circle, but there are 4 sections. It's not the worst section of the worst circle. Yeah, it's I'm not sure which one it is, but there are 4 sections of the circle 9, and they're in one of those top three. But anyway, that's where the husband is. I just thought it was interesting how they fell in love. That's what they call it. In fact, the question also asks, does she seem sorry for her sin?
Yes.
No.
No, she didn't.
I tend to agree with you. She still loves you. She says, love took me with such great joy of him that see. It holds me yet and never shall leave me more. I don't see too much about it that makes her sad, but anyway, that's what she says. And notice at the end, Dante faints again. So he faints, and that means that we don't have to know how he gets to the next section. So again, we're down to question number 24. We skipped number 20. And I have a reason for that. I'm just going to take a little time to go over it. We can do that. All right, so I'll make a note that we had finished this section, so we're going to be in a new section Monday. We will do vocabulary next week, but if you want to go ahead and do it, that's fine.
The next section of words.
Yeah, the middle section, there'll be 20 words in it, and